Alrighty, so for the most part, if I have extra stuff to show, like alternate things that could have happened or stuff that we kind of breezed by, we're going to do it at the ending of an episode instead of in its own separate episode, but I've got so much to show from the first 2 hours of this game, and I didn't want to slow down the pacing of the excitement of the opening, so we're gonna do a separate little episode here.
Okay.
So right here at the very beginning, literally in the train station, right first thing, there are a number of little hidden jokes and references. Bonora white apple juice. There is a significant little kind of symbol in the prequel game, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, where a character waxes poetic about the blue apples from their hometown of Bonora.
I was about to ask, I was like, why is it blue?
That have white cores, yeah.
Okay.
They're called, it's one of those very, like, Japanese video game thing. Ah, yes, the thing from my childhood that I think back to that reminds me of so-and-so whatever. So it's kind of like an image, it's like a symbol of this person's past and the bond between a couple of these characters. None of that stuff is going to come up really in this game, but it's just a quick little reference to, like, instantaneously to that prequel game that a lot of people like. There's a picture, there's an advertisement for a camera that's, I don't know, kind of nice to stop and look at, but not important. We have Red Lord energy drink and the art for the reoccurring enemy type bomb that has been in Final Fantasy for years and years. We won't, I don't think we see a bomb. No, we do see a bomb way later in this game. Mineral water, clear icicle. There's a town, Joey will recall, way, way, way later in Final Fantasy VII Original called Icicle Inn. It's up on a glacier.
Yep.
And we are perhaps to assume that that water is imported from there. But here, in the first room in the game, hair tonic, ideal scalp care. And down in the corner, for astonishingly radiant and spiky hair.
Amazing.
As far as I know, this doesn't appear anywhere else in the entire game. Most of these assets are recycled somewhere else, but that hair product is just right there in the first room.
Perfect.
They got the joke out of the way right up front.
I just realized our buddy's crouching in the background.
Yeah. I've turned the game music down. There should be the pumping bombing mission music playing because we're all exciting.
Is it not stated or implied that Sephiroth uses like an entire bottle?
There is a fun fact in Crisis Core. Literally, like in universe, there's like a message like, fun fact, did you know about Sephiroth that he has to use a full bottle of shampoo every time he takes a shower? Yeah, there's nothing really hidden here. It's just like, it's kind of like, it's cute. Like, we never, again, these are assets like those timetables for that train station. We're never back here. We're never in a station like this. Those are unique assets for here. I don't know what the point of bench ads is for a company that owns most of the planet.
Yeah.
I don't know why they feel the need, like, to spend so much money on marketing. I mean, I guess it's free marketing if you own the station.
It's true.
But still, I guess you got it.
What if it's just placeholder?
Who knows?
What I mean? It's
But
like, you can't have nothing.
There's another advertisement for the mineral water here, and there's Stamp promoting it in the corner. Very easy to miss. But yeah, I think it's funny that there's advertisements for how awesome the Shinra Electric Power Company is in the city that is owned and operated by the Shinra Electric Power Company.
Yeah, but I'm sure, like, you go to, like, Walmart and they have Walmart signs.
You know, I suppose you're right. It's all about brand recognition. So we remember we slipped through this cleanly last time.
Yes.
If you do screw it up, though, Jesse's like, hey, come on, Cloud. Take this a bit more seriously.
These are cool. Sorry. These soldiers sure can take a beating.
Well.
Still kicking, I see. Are you trying to get hit?
Yes, currently.
Actually.
Sure you were a soldier? I had no idea you were such a klutz. Do you have a fetish or something? There's a fine line between being daring and being dumb. Food for thought.
And then they loop after that. That's all she's got. But that's a lot of dialogue that they
It is.
recorded to hide that, to basically just to hide that joke. But I don't know, maybe in QA people did screw up that much. Anyway, if we want to pick the other.
That long enough for you?
He still makes fun of us no matter what we do.
What a shame.
So, also, we obviously stopped and listened to a lot of NPCs when we were walking through here anyway, but I don't want to, we didn't stop, I did not go and show everything. I just wanted to show, there is a staggering amount of NPC dialogue in this game for a room we're never going to walk through again. Most of these characters have at least like 2 or 3 different things you can trigger them to say. And if it's a little
Stamp will save us all.
and if it's a little grouping of NPCs, they might have 2 or 3 little conversations that they go through.
We're not going to die, are we?
It is I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna try and show every single bit of dialogue because there's way too much, and I'm only gonna show it for this room. There are 2 more rooms with NPCs that have tons of stuff to say.
Oh my gosh.
Here.
Nuts.
But I wanted to run through here just to give kind of a composite image of how much stuff these guys have to say. I thought I saw a shiny back there, but it was just kind of some glitter. It was just a little glistening off of one of those cardboard boxes.
Structures in the area are at high risk of collapse, rendering the entire sector hazardous.
Bombing? No, this can't be happening. No way.
Right now, we're listening to this without music. I turned the in-game music down for most of the stuff that I taped. I might put some music in later. I just didn't have quite enough time to do that. Maybe I'll just leave it like this so we can hear other stuff about the sound design.
For the station. Then we take the train to your sister's.
So sound design is always it's one of those very underrated things where it's like when it's good you don't notice, but when it's bad you sure do. You don't notice and you don't appreciate as much as we should.
Now, I will say, especially because you've got, I assume, a lot of extras who are pulled in and just reading stuff off of a script. Like, this dude has a line read here in a second that's really funny. I think this dude, one of them has, like, a reaction like, oh, wow, there was a bombing? Like, it sounds like Mark Wahlberg going, what? No! In The Happening. It's like, you know, not all of them are winners, but it's just impressive the quantity of stuff that they wrote and then had people record, I think.
Yeah.
For a section that you can realistically walk through and maybe you could get there just if you were casually trying to follow Jesse, you might only activate 1 or 2 of these on accident as you're walking past them. There's a lot of work put into stuff like this, and in fact, there's at least 1 episode that I've already taped where I'm basically, like, in the last 10 minutes of it, there's a part where I'm gonna go, okay, everybody, if you don't care about NPC barks, you can stop watching or skip to the next episode, because we're just gonna walk around for 10 minutes, because for this one brief moment in the game, everybody in this area has refreshed dialogue.
This is now this turns into a fun game where I try to remember what area you could possibly be talking about.
It's literally just a particular part in Sector 7, which we'll see in the next episode. We'll see the location I'm talking about that is in the next episode. It's just a very particular moment where you really would not think to bother walking around town and talking to people.
We've got our breath back. Let's head to the station.
It makes you wonder what the intention here is. It's like, do they think the player is just going to be walking by all these people and it's like going to trigger a lot all at once, so it feels like everybody's just talking?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, because they do overlap, right? And that's kind of why they have those subtitles coming up over on the side, and they get quieter when you walk away from them. And when you're running around in another location we're going to see in the next episode, that is definitely the intent. Is because here, you're in kind of a wide street.
Yeah.
And it's easy to not bump into some of these people. An area we're going to be in the next episode, you're running through a lot of narrow alleys past people.
Okay.
And it does, especially because most of them have like 2 or 3 things that they'll say, it does create the impression as you go back up and down those streets a couple of times, you're just hearing passing snippets of conversations if you just run. You can stop and listen and they have more to say, obviously. But it feels like it's that if you decide, maybe the intent was just if the player decides to walk up to this person, we want to have something for them to say. I don't think they expect you to stop and talk to every single person, because there's no button I'm hitting, by the way. It just triggers by how close you are. If you stand next to an NPC long enough, they will eventually play their next set of lines, but usually it's faster to, no, not usually, it's always faster to walk up to them, let them finish, step away, and then walk back up to them. Because you have to stand next to them for a while before they start saying other stuff.
Gotcha.
So maybe it may be a little bit obnoxious that I keep walking up to people and then walking away. That's why I'm doing it. You can't just hit a button to make them say the next thing they have to say. But yeah, there were a couple more environments we can go through with NPCs to talk to, but again, I just wanted to give a composite impression, so we're going to skip ahead to this cutscene.
I'm good.
Oh, don't be like that. I know you want one. When was the last time you saw a real flower, huh? Plus, it'll make your girlfriend's day. I guarantee it.
How much?
Well, that depends on the customer. In your case, it's on the house.
So if you picked how much in the first place, you don't get this second choice.
Enough already. I'll give you 2 gil for it.
2 measly gil for a real flower? Come on.
5 then.
Please, that's not nearly enough. Besides, I clearly said it was on the... Oh, you're trying to get rid of me for 5 lousy gil. Sorry, but your plan won't work.
Huh?
Lovers used to give these when they
And
were
then back into the
reunited.
scene, as we originally saw it. I did not bother loading another save. I forgot about that second dialogue option, but I know that all it is just it dumps back into the conversation faster, so I didn't bother to go tape that again as well. Anyway, here, I just wanted to take a minute to look at this street, because we're not going to be back in this environment again, and we're not going to be in the nice parts of town that much more in this game. So I wanted to take again, just to look at, again, how much stuff they had to make for this little environment. But also, just it's an opportunity to look a little bit at to stop for a second. Well, we're in a bonus episode anyway that's separate, and I'm allowed to just stare at walls for a few minutes, and you can skip the episode if you don't want to put up with that. I thought it'd be an opportunity to look at some of the art design of this world, because it's got a very interesting, eclectic aesthetic. I mean, I love stuff like this, like you're walking up here, and this feels very much like something you would see in, like, you know, it looks like something from the 50s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The cars look like they're from the 50s.
Yeah.
And the game isn't going to get into it too much about, like, there is a prequel game, like I mentioned before. There's a game called Crisis Core. There's also the Japanese-only cell phone game called Before Crisis. It's also a prequel game. That was way before Crisis Core came out. Like, they just kind of stuck with that naming convention for things. I'm not gonna... There are some fans right now who heard me mention naming convention of spin-offs, and they really want me to talk about some crazy stuff that I'm not gonna get into right now. There's some weird hidden stuff going on with the spin-offs of Final Fantasy VII. But you can see really low resolution. The Benora White flyer was on there, along with like a Chocobo flyer of some kind.
Pizza.
We're going to talk about the fact there's some low-resolution textures in this game. We'll talk about why that is a little bit in the next episode. Anywho, what was I going to say? The prequel games that do exist are all like 5 to 10 years before this. There isn't anything that's like 50 years ago that explains how did Shinra get where it is exactly. But anyway, stopping here for a second. In the original game, when you were walking on the screen where you bump into Aerith, there was just a big sign that had basically that woman on it that said, "My Bloody Valentine Loveless." And it was just a really striking image that stuck with people because it was in the first 45 minutes of the game.
Right.
And for whatever reason, it just became a thing that people recognized. And indeed, one of the first clues in the teaser trailer for this game that it was a Final Fantasy VII Remake was that billboard was on something in the background. This became a very weird thing in spin-off material because it was just a thing that people recognized. So it's like, well, you know...
Guess we should put it in.
Gotta be important, right? In the prequel game Crisis Core, there is a character who is obsessed with the ancient unfinished poem Loveless, which is and he quotes from it constantly and equates his life to its contents constantly. And people find that character obnoxious in the first place, and then that element really launches it over the edge. Here they don't make direct mention to it in the same way that he talked about it. But they do basically in this game call it that it's a famous literary work. It's from a long time ago. It's essentially a Shakespeare-esque play in terms of its reputation. And this is there's a current rendition of it being performed here. So the reason it's called Loveless Street is because there's a theater here. And they just happen to be also doing a rendition of Loveless right now.
Interesting.
It's like having a Macbeth Street or whatever, basically. And they happen to be doing a performance of Macbeth, is what the context is supposed to be in this.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are a lot more advertisements here. I was kind of looking for a particular one, and I forgot that it was down at the very end. Right there, you can see on a flyer in the left-hand corner, that orange one. There's like a picture of a sunset and a road that's unfinished, reaching out toward it. Like there's, I don't speak Japanese or read Japanese, so I'm not sure what it's saying, but it seems to be about a construction project of a road that's being built, of an unfinished highway that's kind of jutting out into the open, and there's a sunset in the distance. If you've played the game, you're like, what? but right now it doesn't mean anything.
Nope.
Anyway, music, love and peace, baby. But here's the thing I was looking for: Mad Malboro, which appears to be like a band or something. The Mad Malboros. Malboros are a famous reoccurring enemy in the Final Fantasy series, in the same way that Chocobos are a reoccurring mount that you ride around on.
I see.
There is a Malboros in this game, but it is a secret hidden enemy we won't see for 45 hours.
Very good.
Anyway, just a few more details here. Not a lot to look at. There's a box office. There's a little coffee shop here at the side of the theater. Not a lot to look at, but again, just a lot of details packed into this. Yeah. Anyway, that's about all there is to see here. We saw the rest of this when we were running through it earlier. One thing that I forgot to do when we were filming this previously, and I guarantee you I will continue to forget to do it as the playthrough goes on, is you notice when she gave us the flower, it said obtained flower.
Yes.
So even story items that don't do anything do take up slots in your key items just for fun. And they all have descriptions, and they all have a little render in there.
Interesting.
This flower is going to leave our inventory like 5 or 10 minutes into the next episode. But I remembered to go back and actually take a look at that. It's there in your game menu for a few minutes, and you can totally miss it. Anyway, you can see that that highway advertisement up there again, and these are all ones that we've seen before pretty much, except for this light bulb one down here. It says like changed 5 of them, ? Happy 100th birthday. Don't know what that means. I wonder if it's like it's an advertisement for Lumifest or something in the corner. I don't know what's going on with that one, but that ad doesn't. I don't think that one appears anywhere else.
Interesting.
Reach the bottom.
Anyway,
Relax.
I wanted to revisit this cutscene really quickly because Barrett says something a little odd here.
It's because of that great big pizza in the sky that people down there gotta struggle to survive.
He says, "Take a good look." We're in a tunnel though. We can't see anything. So in the original game, they used pre-rendered backgrounds for all this stuff, and you couldn't actually look out the window. Now, if you look here at the city, we're going to get a better look at this in the next episode, but you can see there's a gap between each of these big sections of the city. Over there on the left, you can see there's an under level, and we're going to see it really prominently down below us in a second here. So the city is structured as 8 big plates, like slices of a pizza, and then there's a lower layer as well. In the original game, they were looking out a window, but they probably couldn't render that in real time with it going around in that tunnel. This is a shot from the teaser trailer where you can see underneath the plate, the central support pillar, and a train running along the outer perimeter of the central strut.
Yeah.
They're missing like that one key establishing shot. And Barrett's line there is like 1 for 1 from the original game.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to bet that originally they intended at that moment for like them to exit the tunnel and there to be something to look at, and they couldn't quite get it to work.
Yeah.
But they left it that way. So that moment, just like, it's like, what is he talking about looking at? It's well, at that moment there wasn't anything to look at, but that's what he's talking about. Anyway, we will get a better look at we'll get in a moment. We're going to be down in the slums, and we will be able to see exactly what he was talking about in the next episode.
All right.